نامتان گرفته میشه و شما گفتم میشه که شما شروع میکنیم. فقط هم یک چیز اینستال بکنه.
سیز ریکاردر شروع ریکاردینگ است. استاتوس ریکاردینگ.
Dr. Nabasu and everyone, good morning all.
Yeah, good morning.
So we would like to formally start the program, but I would like to give few minutes to our team here in Kabul so that we can speak in our own language and we discuss things and do the introduction, and then we will come back to you, if that's okay.
Yes. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. با اجازه وزیر و آقای جلسه امروزی ما برنامه آگاهی دهی در مورد هواشناسی زراعتی است. از اینکه تغییرات اقلیم تاثیرات زیاد بالای تمام کشورها، بخصوص کشورهایی که زراعتی هستند، بسیار زیاد تاثیر دارند و افغانستان و کشورهای جنوب آسیا همگیش کشورهای زراعتی هستند که فیصدی زیاد مردم در زراعت و در مالداری مشغول هستند. به این خاطر وقتی که اقلیم تغییر میکنه زیادترین تاثیر را بالای دهقان و مردم فقیر و بیچاره ما شما داره که در افغانستان هم ما زمینای للمیم داریم. در زمینای زراعتی ما فیصدی زیاد زمینای زراعتی ما زمینای للمی است که ولایت‌های شمال افغانستان است و زمینای زراعتی ما هم در افغانستان است. فیصدی زمینای للمی ما زیاد است و یعنی تغییرات بالای زراعت تاثیر مستقیم داره. مثلا در سال 2018 در افغانستان خیلی تاثیرات حیوانات در ولایت از بین رفتن، زمینای زراعتی ما از بین رفتن. به او خاطر یک کمیته ساخته شد که در مورد هواشناسی معلومات پیشگویی بکنن برای مردم که تا مردم از فقیرتر شدن نجات پیدا بکنن. مثلا در سال 2018 مردم اطلاع نداشت که سال آینده بارندگی است، یعنی زیادترین فیصدی زیاد مردم ما در زمینای للمی خود جناب وزیر کشت کردن. چیز پیسه و گندم و تخمی که داشتن اونا کشت کردن و بارندگی نبود، تمامشان از بین رفت و عواید و چی که داشتن، سرمایه‌ای که داشتن همه گیجدو از بین رفت. به این خاطر در جنوب آسیا کمیته ساخته شده که در مورد علم هواشناسی معلومات یا آگاهی برنامه هواشناسی زراعتی است و در این دو هدف داره این کمیته تشکیل شده. خوشبختانه افغانستان هم در این اواخر شامل این کمیته شد و من نماینده افغانستان در این کمیته هستم و همچنان رئیس وحید که تجربه خیلی زیاد در این بخش دارن و ما را هم زیاد کمک کردن شامل این کمیته کمیته هستم به نمایندگی از افغانستان. این کمیته دو هدف داره. یک هدف چیست که متخصصینی که در جنوب آسیا در تمام کشورها کار میکنن در بخش هواشناسی زراعتی یا را با هم جمع بکنن و هدف دومشانی است که معلومات هواشناسی در کشورها با هم شریک بکنن و تا در از اثر تغییرات اقلیم کدام تغییراتی که می اثر مردم پیش از پیش یک آگاهی برای مردم داده شود و همچنان در این بخش ترینینگ و مشوره دهی از برای مردم که به ارتقای ظرفیت بکنن و در بخش GIS و ریموت سنسینگ که ما مسئول دفتر GIS و ریموت سنسینگ و هواشناسی زراعتی افغانستان از وزارت زراعت هستم و توسط GIS و ریموت سنسینگ ما معلومات هواشناسی و تمام معلومات روی زمین از ساتلایت هایی که در هوا است و معلومات میگیریم. دیگه این جلسه انشالله که ساعت 10 بجه گفته بودم شروع میشه از 9 کشور جنوب آسیا که کشورها هم اگر ضرور است افغانستان، بنگلادش، بوتان، هند، میانمار، نیپال، سریلانکا، پاکستان و مالدیو. افغانستان این کشورها شامل هستند. الله توفیق. حالا اگر اجازه باشه که ما چون میکروفون نلایده نداریم کلگی را معرفی بکنیم. Hello, good morning, Dr. Nabansu and everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Good morning to all the members of SIFUM. Hope everyone is fine and in good health. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Najibullah Osmani, Head of GIS, Remote Sensing and Agromet Unit within Ministry of Agriculture Irrigation. I am sure I am the junior most of all of you in SEFUM committee. However, I would like to benefit most from your wealth of knowledge and long-term experience in agrometeorology and its impact on agriculture in drought, early warning, which will prove beneficial not only to MEL, but the Afghan nation. I would like to thank all the participants of the sensitization workshop from the SEFUM committee and MEL leadership and the honorable guests from the relevant institution, ministries like Afghanistan Meteorological Department, Kabul University, Ministry of Energy and Water, and especially thanks to Dr. Nabamsu for arranging and making today's meeting possible. With an apology that we don't have individual microphone, so I would like to take the opportunity to introduce everyone around the table. Male Minister Dr. Maulid Abdurrahman Rashid, Honorable Deputy Minister for Technical Affairs, Dr. Director General Plan and Policy and Project Coordinator Maulid Sadrazam Saib, Director Plan and Policy Maulid Abdul Ghafur, from Geoscience Faculty Professor Abdul Ghiyas Safai Saib, from Agriculture Faculty Professor Ghulam Hussain Saib, and from Agriculture Faculty Shatano Shumasti Dr. Saib Muhammad Zaman Amini. From Ministry of Energy and Water, Fazal Haq and Rohullah Bigi. From Afghanistan Meteorological Department. Now that I have provided that preliminary information on SEFUM, I would like to request MEL Minister and also Mr. Wahidullah Yusufi, who was previously leading the Agromet unit of MEL, and has more information on the subject to present of agrometeorological stats in Afghanistan. Please direct your question to him after the presentation. But before we proceed to the presentation, I would like to request the external guests of today's meeting to introduce themselves to us here in Afghanistan. Thank you very much.
Dr. Nabamsu, can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you. So we will introduce ourselves. So
Please
I
go
will
ahead.
first request Dr. L.S. Lato to introduce himself.
Thank you, Nabamsu. I am Dr. L.S. Rathore. Good morning to all. I am former Director General of Meteorology, India Meteorological Department, and permanent representative of India with the World Meteorological Organization. I also served as chair Intergovernmental Board on Climate Services, which is a special agency of the United Nations to cater to development of global framework for climate services. And currently I am assisting the projects of World Bank and United Nations Development Program in the South Asian region. Over.
Thank you, Dr. Rathore. Then over to Dr. Ramakrishna, Y.S. Ramakrishna.
Thank you, Nabamsu. I am Dr. Y.S. Ramakrishna. I was the former director of the Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture. Before that, I worked in Central Arid Zone Research Institute in Rajasthan. So I had experience of both arid, semi-arid and other different climatic situations. I was also a member of the advisory committee for National Disaster Management Authority of India. And I worked in Natural Resource Management chair in Tokla Tea Research Institute. I had experience of more than about 50 years in the field of agrometeorology. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramakrishna. Over to Professor M.C. Bharshney. Sir, we can't hear you. Just unmute.
Dr. Varshney, please.
Thank you, Dr. Navansu. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I am Professor Dr. M.C. Varshney. I have worked as a founder Vice Chancellor of Anand Agriculture University, Anand, for 2 terms, starting from 2004 to 2010. Then, I was the Vice Chancellor of Ramdhan University for 1 term, that is from 2014 to 2017. Thus, in total, I have been handling the universities as Vice Chancellor for 3 terms in Anand Agriculture University and at Ramdhan University. I have worked as a member of the peer review committee which reviewed the working of the whole ICR system. I was also the member of the committee who selected the chairman for NDDB, National Dairy Development Board. Similarly, I have chaired different committees for selection of Vice Chancellor of different universities. Presently, I am the President of RAC, Research Advisory Committee of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Research at Patna. Similarly, I am also the member of the RAC of NBSS and LUP Nagpur. Similarly, I am working as member and chairman of various committees. I have in total number of publications, incidents, books, etc. I have traveled many countries in the world, and I am quite aware about the applications of agricultural methodology in increasing the agricultural production, horticultural production, dairy production of food countries. I am having experience more than 52 years in teaching, research, extension education, university administration, and organizing so many workshops, etc. Presently, I am settled in Pune, and here I am working for different institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Varshney. Now, over to Dr. Abhishek.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. And I'm very happy to be a part of this sensitization meeting for the development of agrometeorology in the Afghanistan. And at this juncture, I am very happy to see the delegation headed by the Minister of the Afghanistan government and the Najibullah of the agrometeorological head of the Afghanistan.
Thank you.
I am Dr. A.N. Sheikh. I am basically an agriculture graduate and started my career in the agriculture meteorology since 1970. I was involved in the teaching and research and the extension activity of the agricultural meteorology and agriculture. And my vast experience is in the agriculture agrometeorology, the interaction of the crop and weather modeling, hydrological modeling, micrometeorology, and so on. I have conducted and completed several projects funded by the ISD, Agriculture Research, India Meteorological Department, Space Research Center, and so on. And nearly 250 papers have published on my career in the different journals. I was the founder of the Association of Agrometeorologists of India, and we published the Journal of Agrometeorology pattern, and which has rated highly rated in the scientific community. I was also a Vice Chancellor and Director of Research, Dean PG Studies and Dean of Agriculture Faculty, and in that way I have contributed the quality education in agriculture. This particularly the agrometeorology is important for the production and physical production, agriculture production, by understanding the physical state of the crop field, and thereby to have a understanding of the effect of the climate change and how to avoid, how to adopt. That is the important aspect, and then in that way I can contribute in that one. Thank you very much to all of you, and once again I hope that this interactive meeting and sensitization will be very much helpful to the country of India and Afghanistan in particular for increasing the crop production, and by the way, by increasing helping the poor farmer in improving that economic condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sheikh. Now over to Dr. Ramana.
Thank you, Dr. Nabansu and friends. I am associated with teaching research and development of agricultural meteorology in India from 1966 onwards. I taught agricultural meteorology to the postgraduate students in University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore up to 1979, and later I joined the Indian Council of Agriculture Research at Central Arid Zone Research Institute, Jodhpur, where I was associated with research in arid zone climatology, desertification, crop weather modeling, and productivity of grasslands, and so on. And then later I moved in 1984 to Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture, Krida, Hyderabad, as project coordinator for All India Coordinated Research Project on Agrometeorology, and during that period I was associated with development of a USAID project worth $1.6 million, wherein we have got nearly 16 people trained on different aspects of agricultural meteorology in India, in USA, and also we organized nearly 20 in-service training programs for the research workers and teachers in agricultural meteorology. I retired from service in 2000, but from 2011 onwards, I am associated. 2009 onwards, I am associated with the Journal of Agricultural Meteorology, published by the Association of Agricultural Meteorologists as Editor-in-Chief. I worked as consultant to some of the state governments in India on drought management. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramana. Now it is over to Dr. Raji Reddy. Dr. Raji Reddy, please. I think
I'm Dr. D. Raji Reddy, former Director of Research, former Director of Extension of the Raswell Acharya Engineering University, and also the Association of Telangana State Agricultural University. And I spent about 30 years, 30 to 35 years in the university, and I was mostly in the research, particularly with reference to the upstream farming systems, water management, crop weather modeling, and mainly from the last 25 to 30 years on agrometeorological research project under the able leadership of Dr. L.S. Rathod. And I actually, this new university has given a new direction to particularly in research and also extension. And we are helping the government of Telangana time to time what needs to be done for the farming community. And actually, I'm present. I'm associated with the World Bank project for the Afghanistan, particularly related to agrometeorological project. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Now we have with us Dr. Azharul Aziz from Bangladesh. Over to Dr. Aziz.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and very good morning to you all. My name is Azharul Aziz, and I work for Department of Agricultural Extension under the Ministry of Agriculture, Bangladesh. I have been with the Department of Agriculture more than 28 years. Presently, I am posted as Chief Instructor of the Agriculture Training Institute. Previously, I was in charge of agrometeorological project, World Bank funded, and I was in charge of project director. And my experience is to operationalize the agrometeorological services in Bangladesh. And I know that similar World Bank funded projects are implementing in different regions of South Asia. So I will be looking forward to cooperate with another aspects of cooperation. We'll be happy to connect with you. Honorable and distinguished guests of Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. We have with us a very distinguished personality from Australia, Dr. A.K. Sudha. Dr. Sudha, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Manshu, for that. It's a great opportunity for us to meet and discuss the agrometeorological issues and sensitization program, in particular in Afghanistan. As Dr. Manshu said, Samsul Huda. I'm originally from India, but now living in Australia for 30 years. Working in Western Sydney University. And currently, I lead 3 large projects. One funded by Qatar National Research Fund, Qatar government, into assessing or enhancing quality and production of crops and selected crops, both for field and greenhouse. It's more than $1 million project. And it will go on for these 4 years of 2024. And before this, we got more projects in recent past on the government. So that shows that we're delivering, understanding the issues. So that's one project which uses climate, soil information in enhancing climate production and quality. At the same time, resources that help improve water and nutrients, particularly nitrogen use efficiency. The second other project is quite large, just started, building on this, funded by the Australian government, called Global Research Center for Future Farming Systems. A similar sort of thing, but mainly to use the efficiency, improve the efficiency of water and nitrogen crops, selected crops, as I mentioned before. And third large project that I'm working on in called lifestyle farming systems, lifestyle and health in the Pacific island countries, neighboring countries, Australia, like New Caledonia, Fiji, Vanuatu. This is funded by European funding sources. And other project I'm continuing doing it in India, and the livelihood improvement through climate smart agriculture. And this is mainly done in West Bengal and other parts. I work in a number of areas in India and many other developing countries. So I was experience working that. Though I have not worked in Afghanistan, but this was an opportunity to help whichever way we can do in understanding the climate, variability, both time and space, and its impact, how to measure it. Anyway, Naman has invited me to speak a few minutes, and I'll discuss that in my time. Thank you very much for your support. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Huda. Before introducing myself, first of all, warm greetings and welcome to the Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister. Your Excellency, we are extremely delighted to have with us and to guide us also to how to proceed. I am also grateful to all the members of the Ministry of Agriculture, Minister of Energy and Water, then Afghanistan Meteorological Department, and all the delegates for joining in today's program. As far as myself is concerned, I work with India Meteorological Department on agrometeorology, operational agrometeorology, more than 30 years. I work with World Bank, I work with World Meteorological Organization. At present, I am working as a president of International Society for Agriculture Meteorology, and I am also working for this South Asian Forum for Agriculture Meteorology as a secretary. So we are looking forward to have a wonderful meeting today. I don't think anybody from SAFOM side, I don't think. If not, then over to Mr. Usmani for next course of action. Over to Usmani.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nabasu. Thank you very much, colleagues, for briefing us on your short profiles. I would like to request a few minutes of your patience just so that I can briefly introduce you to His Excellency Minister and the Deputy Minister and the colleagues around the table, and then we will come back to you. If it's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you very much. جناب وزیر صاحب او محترم معین صاحب تاسو په اجازه د همکاران ټول دوی خپل ځانونه معرفي کړل او تاسو ته او خپل هغه تجربې چې په همدغه برخه کې درلودې مثلا زراعت یا هواشناسي او یا زراعتي هواشناسي یا کرنیزه هواشناسي چې موږ ورته وایو په همدغه برخه کې نو دوی ټول ماشاءالله ښه ډېر تجربه لري او د تاسو نه چې فیصله دوی ډاکټر نبسو دا خواهش وکړ چې تاسو د رهبرۍ او هدایت مطابق یعنی د دغه جلسې د لارې که تاسو موږ ته بیا راهنمایي وکړئ لارښوونه وکړئ چې موږ د خپل پروګرام په افغانستان کې څنګه مخکې یوسو د تخنیکي خلکو په صفت انشاءالله همدغه خلک دي په مختلفو اداراتو کې دي د همدوی سره به کار کوو او ستاسو مشورې سره به انشاءالله دوی سره موږ مخته ځو او اوس به د جلال الملک وزیر صاحب هیله کوو چې هغوی رسما دغه ورکشاپ موږ ته افتتاح کړي خپل په وینا سره او انشاءالله به زه ستاسو دغه وینا دوی ته په انګلیسي ژبه ترجمه هم کړم جلال الملک وزیر صاحب
اولا خوشحال هستیم که در این ورکشاپ هواشناسی ما یک جا هستیم شرکت کردیم و از برادرایی که در این ورکشاپ هواشناسی زراعتی و ما از خارج شرکت کردن ابراز تشکری میکنیم و از الله جل شانه به اینا کامیابی میخواهیم و افتتاح این برنامه و تاسیس این برنامه در این وقت مناسب در هواشناسی و زراعتی در زراعت و مالداری مفید واقع شود و از برادرایی که در این ورکشاپ زحمت کشیدند و اینجا حاضر شدند و با ما شرکت کردند و از اونها ابراز تشکری میکنیم و همراهشان هر نوع همکاری ما آماده هستیم و پرسونال ما و تیم تکنیکی ما به شما وعده میدیم و از هر نوع همکاری به شما درک نمیکنیم و الله جل علا شانه به ما و شما توفیق بده در آینده هم در این مجلس ها همه رقم ورکشاپ ها اشتراک کنیم. السلام علیکم و رحمت
Dr. Navasu, I would like to read the translation of His Excellency Minister's speech to you. And I will send you the soft copy for the minutes of this workshop also, in case we need to prepare a report.
Yeah, excellent.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Chairman, distinguished participants of this workshop, it's my greatest pleasure to be with you this morning to officially open this workshop. I wish to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the organizing committee for inviting me to this occasion. May I take this opportunity on behalf of the government of Afghanistan in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock to welcome the foreign participants or the external participants and guests from various institutions from Afghanistan to this workshop. I would like to commend SAFOM for arranging and facilitating this sensitization workshop. For senior Afghan management and policymakers on this important topic of agrometeorology, which is key to successful agricultural production and marketing, where more than 68% of the population is directly or indirectly involved in agriculture sector. Mr. Chairman, this workshop is organized at the right time when in Afghanistan we are passing through the second year of consecutive drought, which impacted irrigated and rain-fed agriculture, including rangeland and our livestock sector. We, as a new government, are committed in working hard for the well-being of our people, especially farmers and herders. The livestock sector in Afghanistan is predominantly consisting of traditional herders, which may not be very productive, but very much important to the livelihood of the farmers and cattle keepers in Afghanistan. Over a number of years now, there has been a lot of efforts put into this sector to improve its productivity. This sector is largely dependent on the rangelands of the country, which are mostly located in the central and the western region of Afghanistan, which are prone to frequent droughts and floods. It's my hope that this workshop will be the basis to address itself to these issues critically and to come up with some interventions which will help us solve some of or address some of these chronic problems, which limit our agricultural production as a whole. Mr. Chairman, I want to end here wishing you all the best on your deliberations and technical consultations. The exchange of experiences from different countries represented here and exchange of notes amongst yourself are the healthiest treasures that all of us are looking forward from this workshop. At the end, I would like to encourage each of you to share with us your experience and expertise on this important science and anticipate that this workshop will be a great success. I would like to assure you of my and my team's utmost support in this regard. Thank you very much.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله عند علم الساعة أو كما قال الله تعالى في كتابه ضبط قلب النبات بنهم لدي وركشاب لإيجاد ولدي وركشاب المناقة تقول بالفرق أستاذ وتقول أنكرانو حق عليه أصل الخبر ده بشي دا دي أتو منكو دا هوا نسي تو پروگرام ده او پدی پروگرام کې موږ تاسو جمع شوو او موږ کوشش هم دا دی چې زموږ د نور ملکونه هم یو تجربه او سره د هوا او بنیاد باندې مسله معلومات حاصل کړو او ما خپل تجربه هم د سره شریکه ځکه زموږ ملک زراعتي ملک ده او زموږ زراعت او د تولید چې دا یو احتمالي خبره ده دا یو حقیقت نه دی چې موږ په دې باندې ځکه چې الله رب العالمین فرمایي چې د قیامت ورځ چې کومه قیامت ورځ راځي دا علم د الله سره دی د باران نزلول دا د علم د الله سره دی خو موږ مثلا یو احتمالي خبره کوو چې یو حالات په بنیاد باندې موږ معلوموو په دې علاقه کې مثلا د باران یو احتمال شته نو په دې بنیاد باندې زموږ ملک هم د اتو ملکو په دې کمیټې کې شامل دی او زموږ ان شاء الله لکه مخکې زموږ مسله یو وزیر صاحب خبره وکړه موږ خپل همکارانو ته دا ان شاء الله اطمینان درکوو چې په دې هکله به موږ د ستاسو سره پوره همکاري هم کوو د کائنات پر رابطه هم د آلات پر رابطه هم چې موږ کولی شو چې د دې آلات نه موږ استفاده وکړو او داسې استفاده وکړو د دې ملکو د تجربې نه هم او د دوی د مسلې د آلاتو نه هم چې موږ زراعتي دهقانان دا یو د فایدې او د یو مثبت نتیجې په برخه شي ومن الله التوفیق.
ډېره مننه منصف خیر اوسئ. Dr. Nabasu, I would like to send you later the summary of what our His Excellency Deputy Minister Technical said, and that will be part of the report also. If there is nothing, His Excellency Minister left us because of his other engagements. He would be attending other meetings, so we will have our Deputy Minister and other colleagues around the table with us. If there is no question or comment or thoughts, then I would like to start my presentation. Which might look basic, but this is what we have here, and we would like to, because this is our first workshop and this is sensitization workshop, so I would like to present you with the clear picture of what we have in Afghanistan, and then we will hear from other colleagues in the committee.
Please proceed. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can we have a full screen presentation?
Yes, we are going to start that. I hope you can see the screen now. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to present on what agrometeorology is, how it started, and then what achievements it had for the last 20 years or more, and what challenges we are currently facing. So I will also mention some of the projects that throughout these last 4 or 5 years they were working with us, and they are still working with us. However, due to the political change, there is a pause in implementation of those projects. And we are waiting for their response on this also, as soon as this political situation here smoothens. So, the weather observation in Afghanistan started in 1940s.
Sir, can you make it full screen?
Full screen.
Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, I'm trying. If I here it's for us it is full screen. Let me try. It will take a few seconds.
I'm not able to see anything. There is a blank.
You see a glass-like thing. Glass-like thing, we just press on the right side.
Right side.
The bottom.
Right click.
At the bottom on the right side, you find a glass, like image. Press on that. It will become full.
Okay. Right click. Okay. Blank screen. این شو که کنی بیرته وکا. For us, it's full screen. Can you see it now? The option, the screen. Display settings of presence. In case I have shared the presentation also, in case you can't see it, but it should be okay now. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah, we can see now.
Okay now, it's okay.
So the weather observation basically started in 1936 in Afghanistan, and some of the records are available through the Indian Embassy in Afghanistan also. And it reached its full bloom in 1980, where we had the most stations, like around 360 stations throughout the country. And all of these stations were monitored, maintained, and owned by Afghan Met Authority at that time, which is now called Afghan Meteorological Department. So most of these stations collected data until 1983. And after that, the Civil War started, so we have the data gap on our hydromet data. Just a second, there is a electricity glitch, so
You can see the second slide.
Yeah, that's okay, but only there is a small issue of electricity, so plug in. So there is a huge gap in data from 1983 to 2003. So with the new government starting in 2001, some of the NGOs which were working before that, like 1990, 95, 93, 97, they installed some of the classic stations for their projects. And all those projects were working on agriculture and water management. So they needed some data to collect from each province or from where they were operating. So those NGOs and offices, they installed their own stations, and they were collecting data for their own. So those like NGOs included Dakar, which were working on groundwater and some of the agriculture projects, Madeira, ACF, FAO, and some others. And they were collecting data required for their projects, which were mainly the 5 or 6 parameters that we use in agrometeorology. So in 2002, the need for installation of new and modern equipment was felt, and FAO was the first to take this initiative. FAO had a project with the Ministry of Agriculture, and they started to revive the classic stations. They installed 5 classic stations, and because installing these stations required an assessment of where to install, so they used the way that where the previous governments or where we had the stations before, so they revived and installed the same stations in the same locations. They also trained and used the government staff from Afghan Met Department and also Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock, trained them in data collection and processing. So they were the people, because the AMA and male people, they had access to the field, so they collected the data and then handed it over to the projects also and to the government staff also. In 2002, in 2003, the project was over, so USGS took that initiative in hand, and they started to support this agromet project in Afghanistan. So they installed so many weather stations also, but mostly they installed rain gauges from the Sutran company, which was also a US company. In total, the Agromet unit within Ministry of Agriculture had 108 stations in rain gauges, from which, like the later slides, we will see how many of these rain gauges in automatic weather stations were there, but it covered all the 34 provinces of the country. So once USGS stopped supporting this project, they officially handed over this project to the Ministry of Agriculture, from where they started. And then in 2013, the Ministry of Agriculture had to start a unit within the Statistics Directorate of the Ministry of Agriculture, and they handed over all their stuff, the stations, the observers, and whatever they had extra, they were all handed over to the Ministry of Agriculture and to the Agromet unit. Around 120 agrometeorological stations were installed throughout the country, but some of these stations were damaged, and some were not working because in some provinces there was extreme cold, so some of the equipments within that station did not work and it was damaged. So in total, some digital stations were also installed, but they were not suitable for that area where it was installed, so it didn't work, and finally they were damaged. When this unit was established within MAIL, the main objective of this unit was to report on the condition of cereals to the decision makers, especially the ministry itself, but we also were sending reports to the President's office on cereal, because like this was a brief report, this was a small report, but it was very important in terms of the wheat and wheat flour imports to the country. So once we have the report prepared, then the government would decide on how much wheat and how much wheat flour to be procured for the country. And then to provide accurate and timely agroclimatic data, especially when there were official travels, to provide agroclimatic data to the decision makers within the ministry, and also to the researchers, and also to some of the students who were studying abroad. They were coming to the ministry and they were collecting the data from us and using it in various research. This unit was also tasked to prepare weekly, monthly, and seasonal agromet reports to the ministry. So the current resources within this unit in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock is like we have 4 classic stations. We also have 9 automatic weather stations from Sutran company. And we will discuss this further once we come to the recommendations and the challenges that we face currently. We will come to all these issues. And 95 remaining are only rain gauges, which are also from the Sutran company and installed in all of these stations, or most of these stations are installed in agriculture research farms, because they were the property of the Ministry of Agriculture, and the most suitable place, and the data was mostly used or mainly used in research, in agriculture research, so they were mainly installed in agriculture research farms. Afghan Met Department, they have 29 Met stations throughout the country. However, most of their stations are located in the airports, because it's part of the Ministry of Civil Aviation, so they control the airports also, and most of their stations are located there. With Ministry of Energy and Water, so the World Bank through a project supported them, and then they installed 26 automatic weather stations from the same company, Sutran, which the Ministry of Agriculture had, and also 30 snow stations. They have 127 hydro stations also, but I mentioned here only the Met stations. And their stations are mainly located in higher altitudes than those of the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock. Some of the snapshots of our stations. This is the classic station, one of the classic stations that was installed by USGS. One typical picture from the automatic station, and another also from some of the equipments in one of our station. So the automatic stations that we operate here in MAIL, they collect 12 parameters. In the classic stations that we had, they collected only 5 parameters, but most of the data from the automatic station, they were coming on hourly or 3-hourly basis, which were used in agriculture research and some other purposes. But most of the data from the classic station and rain gauges, it will only come on daily basis. So we only had daily data for that. This agrometeorology also collected data on crop, like crop growth stage, in which stage a crop is in each province or in some of the important districts. Then we have to collect data on the condition of the crop, whether it is wheat or maize or rice, which are the main crops in the country. So which growth stage it is, and also any adverse factor, whether it is from the pest or disease attack or whether it is from the climatic phenomena like drought and or floods. So this kind of data along with the metadata was collected from these stations. Main data users of the data collected by Agriculture Ministry or the other ministries are the government ministries itself and some of the departments, and also the international organizations and the donors. And then most of the data would go to the academic institutions, the researchers, the lecturers, and the students. So with the new government change for the past 5 years, this is what we are going to do, because some of the stations are not reporting and some of the stations are damaged. So the first thing we would do, or we are currently doing, is the inventory of all the stations that we had in the field. Whether they are in working condition, whether they are in place, whether they are lost or damaged or anything. So the first thing we would do is the inventory. And then we would like to, based on the assessment that we would do, we would like to extend and strengthen the existing network of 108 stations and the rain gauges. And this will include the core budget from the ministry and also the support of our projects. And also the forecasting. The drought forecasting, there were 2 systems developed for Afghanistan, one by ACMAT and one by the World Bank. I think some of your colleagues may know or may be involved or may have to know the systems that are being developed for Afghanistan. And then we also did some, from 2000 up to 2018, we did land use, land cover, annual change mapping for the country also. So some of the challenges, like most of the time you don't have dedicated staff for each station. And what we do, because the Ministry of Agriculture or any other like Afghan Met Department or the Ministry of Energy and Water, they have their own directorates in each province and some staff in each district. So one of those staff is designated as an agromet staff, and they are collecting the data and reporting it back to us. So the major issue that we have is the lack of operation and maintenance of the stations. It can be because of the security also, it can be because of the accessibility also, and then the cost of operation and maintenance, because it's a very small unit within the ministry, and funding for such operation and maintenance is a bit difficult for us, being a very small unit. And also most of the stations are installed in agriculture research farms within each province, because each station you have to install in certain area where it is not damaged by the people, by the animals, and by the natural calamities. So it has to have a specific area and some fencing around it so that it is kept away from the people. So for that kind of thing, we have the most suitable space currently we have is the agriculture research farms, where we install these stations also. Another issue that we have currently, especially, that we are facing a brain drain from the country, and there is very limited capacity for interpreting the agroclimatic data for assessing various threats, whether it is drought or whether it is flood or any other thing, in terms of early warning, basically. And then lack of representative climatic data, because we have 34 provinces and 400 districts. So the stations that we currently operate throughout the country is not representative to the whole country. We need to have more of these stations, especially the complete stations, and also we need to have some rain gauges installed in various parts of the country. And because Afghanistan is a mountainous country, so the microclimates play a major role in terms of modeling. And then to some extent, the very limited coordination and cooperation among various departments who are collecting this data and sharing this data. I believe in the whole region, data sharing is an issue, but it can be specific for us also. And then in some cases, we had loss and theft and damage to the agromet instruments, which were very costly. Like these 9 automatic weather stations that we purchased from Sutran, each of these cost us like around $36,000. And it had a solar and battery, which was very vulnerable. Although they were placed in agriculture research farms, but still some of them had issues. And then low level of awareness, because for us and for each and every project or work that we do within the Ministry of Agriculture, agromet data is key for planning and designing. However, with the public awareness, we face several issues in terms of understanding the importance of the agromet data. So some of the recommendations that we had to our colleagues also here in the ministry, and also like these maybe recommendations for us, but maybe the areas that where we can be assisted through SOFAM or any other committee or any other organization that we will be working with. So workshops and other programs like this, sensitization, this is very much important so that the senior leadership knows what we are doing or what we can do through committees like these and in what way they can support us. Also, the main issue for us is the capacity building or the capacity that we have at the central level and also at the provincial level. That's a big issue for us. And then one of the things that we face here is the institutionalization of agromet in universities and ministries. So we have the chairman of the geoscience faculty here and the two professors from the agriculture faculty here with us. And these are the people where they can teach this to the students. So if there is a capacity required by the ministry or by any other project, they can be a good source of the input or providing us the students who can work in this unit or this department with us. That will also help us in institutionalization of this concept or this science into the ministries and into the society. And also we are trying to use a combination of the ground station with satellite data, because our data may not be that systematic, which are required for research and project design. So we have to use sometimes the satellite data also. And we are also in a view that we will be installing at least one complete station in one district. Like there are 400 districts, so we should have at least 400 of these stations also. But if stations are not possible in each and every district, we need to have half of them stations located in major districts and only rain gauge located in these districts. And then in 2015, a delegation from the Ministry of Agriculture had a visit to India, where we visited the Mahalanobis Agriculture Research Center there. And they were using an agromet model for crop forecasting. There were three methods of crop forecasting, one by the Ministry of Agriculture, one by Ministry of Finance, I believe, and one by this research center. And then they were comparing all these three models. And if there were not more than 10% of difference, then they will have to publish that result. So we tried. However, we couldn't find the technical expertise to do this for Afghanistan also. We also wanted to do pest and disease early warning through this unit. However, we still don't have, and we are trying to first make the pest and disease calendar for the country, for each district, and then want to use it for pest and disease early warning. An installation of at least 200 low-cost automated weather stations. This concept came from a World Bank project in it of early warning, early finance, early action. However, it is on hold now, but we wanted to install 200 low-cost weather stations in various communities, and they will be reporting to us also and to the head of the village also, so that the impact of the hazard is reduced in that particular area. And we also want to move from agromet unit to the agromet early warning unit with the technical assistance from some of the projects and organizations that are working with us here in the ministry. And MU was taking lead on this hydromet data sharing policy. However, we finalized it, but it is not yet approved by the government, and we are still waiting to have that agromet sharing policy. As I mentioned before, data sharing is a little bit difficult in the country. So once we have that agromet policy in place, or hydromet data sharing policy in place, it will be easy for us to share data within the ministry, also with the outside the ministry also. Thank you very much. This is all from my end. I hope it was not long and boring also.
Rather, it was interesting, not boring.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, you.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Vadula, for excellent presentations, which has made a lot of inputs to all of us for making interactive discussion. Maybe some of my slides may be repetition, but I will try to skip that slides which may not be required. So main intention will be, my presentation will be to how the SAPOM as a knowledge platform can help us where you have finished in your presentations. First of all, all we know that South Asia, is highly prone to the disaster, and because of the transboundary nature of weather and climate risks in South Asia, so these initiated that kind of regional cooperation, like that. But if we go to Afghanistan, Afghanistan is the highest level of natural hazard.
That is true.
Even also ranking in the fifth in the country. And particularly the drought and flood, these are most which already you have mentioned that currently you are also passing the drought. And most important part is that drought and flood, but the vulnerability and the coping capacity still need to be improved.
Yeah,
so
right.
The entity we have seen for Afghanistan is temperature, drought and flood. These are the things if we can tackle in this SAPOM platform with all of you, I think that a lot of things can be done in agriculture side. But most alarming is that whatever the global climate projections are there is a potential rise is 1.4 to 5.4 degrees centigrade, which will also make a lot of dryness in Afghanistan, even also the very conquering the drought. Now, I don't know the detail of, but this deep temperature, drought and flood, because you said it's mountainous and the glaciers made, but if the climate projections is true, that means flood will be a major problem, along with the drought, and also the millions of people will be under the food security problem or like that. So, in the SAPOM platform with all of you, we have to see that how this mega problem can be sorted out. Then, when it comes to the agriculture side, mostly you are growing wheat and also the other crops and also livestock. Even also we have seen in 1997 to 2007, even 50% reduction in the livestock numbers because of the drought. Even also in drought, wheat production was very drastically reduced. And along with these things, floods and pesticides already you have mentioned. So these are the constraints in the agriculture. But what are the ways how we can come out of all these things? So I have pointed that four points which SAPOM can work. One is the efficient water management would be critical. Then reaching rollout of adaptation technologies, new crop varieties and early warning systems. Then, what you rightly said that calendars, that the pest and disease calendar, in SAPOM there are a number of experts who are working more than 20 to 30 years with the pest and disease. Then, the most important thing that preventing disaster risk reduction, which how we can maintain. So, if these are the factors which require financial resources, you have already mentioned, power, but the knowledge. This knowledge part, SAPOM is very interested that SAPOM as a knowledge platform to assist you how this four kind of solution can be rendered to you. Now, as on today, the big program of SAPOM from Afghanistan will be from what you mentioned, that agrometeorological observation network, even from remote sensing with capacity building, education, so on and so forth. But the most thing that we will not do all the things together. We want to start with the three program. One is that capacity building. Capacity building, what already mentioned, you have a large number of data. Even also, not only the data of manpower, infrastructure, then collection of data analysis, then early warning, and then disaster resilient, risk-sensitive land use planning. Capacity building for mountains community, Dr. Uday is here, who is from Australia, has a long experience in the mountain, so he will, give his views how the mountain region, which you have said that microclimate is very, very important. We will be venturing onto this aspects also. And also, different levels we will be giving the capacity, will not just agrometeorology, even to the farmers level, by farmers awareness program, climate school or something like that. So you said that you have already done some World Bank projects, and by other agencies they have done drought, but in India we are having a drought manual and a number of parameter indexes we are using, and we are as a combined drought index also. We can brainstorm onto that in Afghanistan, which drought indicator will be very, very representative, and how this drought, this is a big issue for, and SAPOM will also be devoted into this aspect. Next thing is that flash flood. Bangladesh has done very good job that 10 days, because based on that extended forecast, now they are telling 10 days before what is the flash flood will be there, what river flood will be there. I think we can take Indian expertise and Bangladesh also, or from other countries, how the flash flood can be forecast with a reasonable lead time. Then also in India and Bangladesh, we are having very concrete module for farmers, for the officers, for the scientists. So this we can also develop for Afghanistan, specific to your 400 districts and the farmers. So we can develop similar kind of training module, and also with a practical experience. Now, next is that education program. Recently, in education program, we will be trying that how to support the agriculture university to open that agromet course, and also build strong and accountable institution. Then prepare the curriculum, then short course on agromet bulletin preparation, dissemination. Then we also share the human resources from SAPOM. We have a plan to your country also to sit in situ and give the lectures and help to whatever the things is required, even also for postgraduate PhD students. This is the thing which will be opening this year in Bangladesh. Dr. L.S. Rathod, who is the president of this SAPOM, and also Dr. Muzadul Aziz, who is here. And we also, with others, we have made the curriculum, number of meetings with the Vice Chancellor, and now this year, World Bank has given a reasonable fund to open these things in 2 universities in Bangladesh. Similarly, we think of how in Afghanistan we can do this job. Next is that research, which will be what I don't know, but you may not have enough research inputs to you, but with the experience of all the South Asian countries, we can give more impetus on the research part also, so that whatever research output will be coming, that will be putting into the operational agromet services. Now, what you have said that pest and disease, which is along with flood and drought, is also alarming, particularly when dust storms and pollutions are there in your country during drought. There are a lot of disease, particularly livestock. They are a huge problem, even also the crops. So we will be trying that, looking at the climate change scenario, how many pest and disease calendar we can assist you in preparation for Afghanistan. This is crop weather calendar, in SAPOM, a lot of people are there who have long experience with the crop weather calendar, variety specific, location specific. So here also we can share our knowledge to you. Now, the thing is that before going to other parts, we will show that how we tell your ministry that how this subject is so successful in some of the countries in South Asia, because government is investing a lot of funds, and every time we have to substantiate why it is needed. So we have showed to our ministry, concerned ministry, that this is a success story. Here, we have showed that how this maize crop, before harvesting, we have given the forecast, and they saved the crop 7 days forecast. Even also here, we have shown that in April month, we are forecasting because of pre-monsoon condition, if the rain will be there, then only they can sow the crop. And we have showed that this is possible before 15 days, to give the rainfall status and corresponding spring. Even also, one of the pests is called rice hispa, which is coming to rice. We can tell at least 1 month before that whether dry condition will prevail or like that. So we can tell that they can take appropriate measures. So these are the success stories where it is substantiated how this operational agriculture meteorology is very, very successful in South Asia. If you see in Bangladesh, which has started last 3-4 years, so when 2 years back, when they have seen that what is the efficiency of the operational environment, usually very effective was 0.6% or 69%. Now it is 17.88%, and most outstanding part is effective has now shifted from 1 point to 74.91% within 2 years. Bangladesh has done a tremendous job in popularizing and effectiveness of this thing. And we only not seeing what is the in 1 or 2 cases. Throughout Bangladesh and India, we have seen in farmers' field how much they get the profit in terms of rupees or like that. These are some of the things on in grapes, in rice, in livestock. It is a measurable quantity, how much money they have, because of the agrometeorology. Even also in Bangladesh, this potato and another called house paddy, tremendously they have benefited, and also for other cases livestock. So in India, we have a third party to investigate what is the effect enhancement of the economic growth of in agriculture due to agrometeorological services. So first we have done 2006, then 2009, and 2015. So exponential progress is there, and now today, large amount is going to our GDP, and Indian government has invested a huge amount of money for this, and this is one of the flagship project which is under the direct monitoring of the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Narendra Singh Modi. So this is very, very successful. And if you go to Bangladesh also, Bororai, Bitterberg, Mungpin, in particular district, you can see that because of Amphan, the cyclonic storm, and also the exact time of rainfall forecast, so they have tremendous increase in the economic value. So this indicates that there is a huge potentiality of this operational service if it is streamlined in a very systematic way. In future, Afghanistan will be hugely benefited by this. So, with all this background, we want to support, and with all of you, we want to start this operational agrometeorology service in a very systematic way. The philosophy is that Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Irrigation, who are presenting today, they may be nodal agencies, but under this, orbit Afghanistan Meteorological Department, Energy will be there. Then final orbit will be the dissemination and mass media. This is just like a projection, we can brainstorm onto that, and we can finalize what could be the modalities. So just like tentative, we have given a flow chart actually, but this needs to be improved into discussion in future. Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, and Afghanistan Meteorological Department, they jointly prepare the district level, because district level forecast today is a reality for huge amount of skill score is there. And once they prepare, they need to go to the other agencies who can make the products. Then they can disseminate that crop and location specific advisories to the farmers in the 400 districts, and simultaneously farmers awareness program, feedback, all these things will be coming to your nodal agencies to further refinement of this is a tentative kind of flowchart prepared. Next is that way forward is that this is my last slide. I mean, SAFOM will act as a knowledge platform here to work with the following organizations, because whatever you correctly said that World Bank has done, then I was informed that Asian Development has done, even also so many other organizations has done. So SAFOM will work with Ministry of Agriculture, Agrometeorological Department, Asian Development Fund, World Bank, even USSG, then many individuals from Afghan Meteorological Authority and various Afghan ministries, hydrometeorology techniques, and those involved with on-farm water management projects and what else like that. So today is the beginning and we can work on it, but we will see the experts who are here, I mean, president of SAFOM and who are the experts, and then we can decide our next course of action. So this is my presentation to you. Over to Mr. Osmani.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nabasu, for the nice presentation and your thoughts on what SAFOM can serve in Afghanistan and the region also. So should we proceed with Dr. L.S. Rathore for expert comments and opinion from the President of SAFOM?
Thank you, Dr. Nazibullah Osmani, and His Excellency Minister for Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock, His Excellency Deputy Minister, the representatives present in the meeting or which are connected online from various departments, including Department of Agriculture, Department of Plan and Policy, Afghanistan Meteorological Department, Ministry of Energy and Water, academia, research institutions, and other countries. I think it is a landmark day in the history of SAFOM, and also the people present here to discuss on development of operational agrometeorological advisory service. My profound thanks to Nazibullah Osmani and Dr. Nabasu Chattopadhyay for making eloquent presentations, giving on one hand the status of service-related infrastructure and the current level of service in Afghanistan, and on the other hand, what can be done and how can be done in order to launch a vibrant agromet advisory service. I think there are basic components are available to initiate the service in Afghanistan. What we require, we need the basic information on related to weather, and as was presented by Nazir, who mentioned that sizable amount of observing systems and good amount of data, good to learn and prepare basis for starting the service. Of course, there is a requirement for further augmentation which can be done in course of time. As far as forecast is concerned, it is the mandate of Afghan Met Department, and they are doing the forecast, but there is some telecasting required in order to meet the requirement of preparation of agrometeorological advisory bulletin, and that can be achieved. So I think this component of weather information, we are at a very good ground. The second aspect is related to crop status information. And here, though there are certain things available, but we need to augment, and as was mentioned by Nazibullah, that we would require more remote sensing products related to Afghanistan who can give us a current status of crop conditions. This is very important. So, but this can be done, and let us think over it as to how that can be done to achieve this. And we have good amount of ground truthing, as was mentioned by Nazibullah, that which can be merged into give a good idea of the existing issues in the agriculture in order to prepare the agro-advisory bulletin. The third information is soil. I think the basic information on soil is available, but there is a dynamic information in soil also, and that needs to be synthesized. Again, we can make use of remote sensing tool, particularly soil moisture is very critical, soil temperature is equally critical. So at least we start with the basic information, and further in the course of time we can augment our information. Pest disease monitoring is skeleton, but again we need to develop a system wherein there is a periodic reporting. Initially it may be a little coarser time domain, but subsequently we can further fine-tune it in order to have a real grasp of information of prevailing pest disease status and their severity, and also then subsequently we will come on to the pest disease forecasting systems. One important aspect in environmental advisories is agriculture marketing data. That is again available, but the point I want to emphasize is that there is a basic, different agencies are doing various their functions, but what is required is we need to develop a close collaboration and cooperation between these stakeholders, and they are including the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock, Afghanistan Meteorological Department, Ministry of Energy and Water, academia, R&D institutions, information technology agencies, disaster management authorities, information dissemination agencies, and extension agencies. So what is required is, I have come to the action plan which we can think of evolving through today's meeting. So the first step is to, as I mentioned, to set up an agro-meteorological coordination platform to really fix things and put a framework of coordination. That is the first step, and that needs to be formalized. And basically, it is the prime responsibility of MAID, along with Afghan Meteorological Department, and whatever help is required from the point of view of technical input, as was mentioned by Dr. Nabash Upadhyay. We have large number of expertise available in the South Asian region, across the region, and we can take leverage and help of those expertise, both serving as well as retired, through the umbrella of SAPO. And I'm really delighted that it is, I mean, you might have seen that very senior agrometeorologists who are having tons of experience, 5 decades, 4 decades, 5.5 decades, they are willing to contribute to the development of agrometeorology, not only in Afghanistan, but for the entire region. And that is really very encouraging, and it gives strength to us to prepare this action plan which we are talking. The second action would be after we put up the agromet coordination platform in place to start agromet advisory bulletin. Currently we are giving the weather forecast, AAP is giving the forecast, but what is now required is to translate forecast into advisories, and that is in the first phase, tackle only the principal crops of Afghanistan, and we can start for all the 40 districts of Afghanistan. So what is required is that district level information of the weather forecast in the medium range, number one, and then district level crop information. The soil information, pest disease information, well, it can wait for the time being, but at least if these two information, that is the weather information, weather forecast information, and crop information at district level is good enough to initiate the advisory bulletin. As was mentioned by Dr. Nabanshu Chattopadhyay, that we need to, in order to issue these bulletins, we need to have some understanding of crop-weather relationship at the district level. And therefore, we need to have another action plan related to this, that we develop crop-weather calendars for these 40 districts for the principal crops of these districts. And this is a job which the experts can do hand-holding of the people who are responsible for this domain in Afghanistan. So we need to then prepare a mechanism. Initially we can start preparing the advisory bulletins centrally, and subsequently prepare a roadmap to decentralize that. But the central preparation of advisory is vital as a first step. And if not possible to go for district at the quick start level, we can at least start with national agromet bulletin and also the bulletin for different agroclimatic zones. So we can deliberate, Nazib can comment on that as to what would be possible in the given level of setup, and subsequently we can take the further road for strengthening the mechanisms. And the last is that we need to have a very strong advisory dissemination mechanism. And in order to do that, we need to take the multi-pronged strategies. We need to involve the extension agencies, IT agencies, and the multimedia, press, print, radio, etc. And these days, social media is very strong, so we also rope in there, and so the multi-pronged strategy for information dissemination, that is our next step. I would like to dwell something more on the crop-weather relationship and also the products which are required, basic agromet products required for preparation of advisory bulletins, and as Nazib mentioned, that we need to lay focus more on the remote sensing products. I think beside the crop status, we can do a lot of things. The drought indices, soil moisture, pest disease, and we need to identify the groups working in Afghanistan, and we can develop, set up a mechanism to link them to different experts available across the South Asian region on different themes of these product generation. And through hand-holding, we can initiate those kind of things. Next in line is development of action plan related to the capacity building. And capacity building is for different components of the product generation and also enhancing the capacity of the user, and that also is linked to the user awareness programs. So we need to have a separate action plan for awareness program beside the capacity building on different components of the agro-advisory system. Our next thing, I think resources are very critical. Without resources, nothing moves. And broadly, if I categorize the resources, the funding resources, manpower resources, and I would like to go, it is related to funding, but infrastructure resources. And when I talk of infrastructure, augmentation of observing systems, computing systems, and information dissemination systems. So things are primitive, and some of the components, of course, observing systems are on a fairly good ground, but we need to augment. And since there is a World Bank project available for Afghanistan, I do not know the current status. Nazibullah Usmani can throw more light on that. We can, as Naman mentioned, that in Bangladesh, through the World Bank project, we initiated the agromet department. So we required our agromet education system and also the research augmentation through the World Bank project. Also, it would be a good idea that we keep some amount of money which can assist the experts and working in the different parts of the countries for facilitating these linkages with the people who are working on ground in Afghanistan, and the SAFOM, some money can be given to SAFOM from that project to undertake those kind of activities. That also would be, I think, very important. So I think I have covered most of the points. And one more point is, as he mentioned about the crop yield forecasting. Yes, we can undertake that, but then I would suggest that we go into the second phase. Once we put this mechanism in place, that would be easier to do, because that would also require a lot of capacity building on the modeling aspects for the people of scientists in Afghanistan, and it can be done through various agencies for the people of Afghanistan. I think I will stop here and must compliment Dr. Nabanshu and Nazibullah for really doing a very good job and bringing all the stakeholders together for this workshop. And this workshop, I am sure, will be a landmark in further development of agro-meteorological advisory services. Thank you very much. Over.
Before going to international experts, small corrections is there. The presentation has been made by Dr. Wadullah, and welcome address has been given by Nazibullah. Am I right, Dr. Wadullah?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nabasu. Thank you, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. No worries.
No issues. So now, if you keep permit, it is over to our international experts, Dr. A.K. Suda. Over to you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Nabanshu. You can share the PowerPoint that I sent to you. Can you do that, please, from your end? Dr. Nabanshu.
Discussion.
So I need time, but can you share yourself?
Okay, I'll try. Let me just see.
In the meantime, somebody can interact in the meantime. The teams of organized.
Has that come?
Yes.
It's coming. It's coming for us, I think. It's not yet there, but it's coming. بعد از بحث discussion كم سوال شيء مي ذهن کې تیار ځان سره ساتي.
Can you see my screen? Not yet, isn't it?
No.
Can you see from your end or not?
No, presentation is not visible.
Yeah, that's what I see.
I think first open the presentation, then we share it.
Yeah, that's what I did. Okay, that's my presentation.
Yeah. Then share it. Right underneath the presentation, find the share.
You need to open the screen or window. You need to open a window, I believe. One thing is that I think it's a window first. Sorry, You got the PowerPoint? Yes, in the PowerPoint.
Yeah, in the PowerPoint we have a share.
Okay.
What do you find the share?
So I am sharing now. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see now? I share. Just check it out.
Just come.
Yeah. So you tell me I will go next and you can announce this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just to say thank you very much for giving this opportunity and to participate in the program. And as I said, I'm from Western Sydney University Australia. And I really big appreciate the people from Afghanistan colleagues, particularly Dr. Nazrullah and Dr. Ravanshu, for giving me this opportunity to present. Next one, please. Okay. One of the last slides that Dr. Nazrullah presented, and that is a key thing in my mind, that low level of awareness of agrometeorological. Now, when I mentioned that, I don't know what she meant by this. The way I interpreted it, it's very important that communication of agrometeorology needs to happen at every level. We saw today in Afghanistan, right from the top, like the minister, His Excellency, the ministers, deputy ministers, and all the department heads and agricultural directors, they are here. So I think we are making a good progress in terms of letting people know what the agrometeorology can do. I just want to add that when you say agrometeorology, it's just not weather and climate, but its impact on agriculture and various components of it. Primarily, the soils come into it. Dr. Rafa just mentioned then that climate, in terms of the rainfall, temperature, that we are mostly interested, but how it impacts the crops, animals, and that does through the soil. So we need to bring the soil factor as much as possible. So, we are interested to learn about the temporal and spatial change and variability in temperature and rainfall. Now, it's very important in any place, but so much so in mountainous landscape like Afghanistan, that the temperature and rainfall varies very sharply in a very short period of time and short period of space, short space of time, within a short distance. So we need to understand that and the distribution. And the challenges are then substantially intensified if we are to account for the shift in climate variability under future climate change projection scenarios. Thank you. Next one, please. Okay, the potential impacts of climate variability and climate change on food. Now, when it's food, is a grain production and also the meat and other aspects. Water is very important in Afghanistan, any country's context. And then, of course, water and water efficiency. So that means we need to revisit and strengthen our agrometeorological research. Dr. Nazibullah has presented the history that went through Afghanistan over so many years with agrometeorology and the changes that have happened. So very right time that SAPAM is working in close collaboration with Afghanistan and other regional countries to revisit and see what can be done in addressing these issues, particularly capacity building and education research in terms of addressing food security related issues. Next one, please. So, assessments of climate variability and climate change, impact on agricultural production, and then the quality of produce. Just only production, but the quality, the nutrition aspect is very important. And the water use and agricultural productivity, both in aggregate and also down farm scale. We're talking about the district level, yes, there were the services, but ultimately the production happens in the village level, farm level. So we need to think how can we relate this agrometeorological information to farm level. So the application of downscale climate projections then to estimate future yields, like we talked about last presentation, crop relationships, crop weather calendar, and how that impacts crop, not only production but losses. So that impacts the measures of uncertainty, so that is the part of picture. But to facilitate this progress and to improve baseline observational data to support services and modeling, the graph has mentioned a few action plans. Appropriately, the optimal combinations of remotely sensed data, the remote sensing mentioned, the modeled data, and in-situ measurement that's happening. We know that's a problem that is mentioned by Dr. Nazibullah, but that can be addressed through different sources of funding, as mentioned before, the agrometeorological parameters that need to be developed at high spatial and temporal resolution. Is not only Afghanistan but universal is important. So development of comprehensive time resolution, downscale climate projections with uncertainty measures will be crucial to the ability of agrometeorologists to estimate future agricultural productivity and impacts on food security. Next one, please. More broadly, then, agrometeorology has an important role in informing other parts of the agricultural value chain to help optimize the operation. I do know we are talking about agricultural production, but we need to start thinking about as well, just not the production, but that what they produce has to be consumed by other people. So there plays climate a huge role. For example, the need for food preservation during packaging, transport, and storage is climate sensitive. How much of that we address, that of course SAPAM can consider and the program can be developed. Hence, it suggests we all know that multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary research along the length of the value chain, not just in production itself, but in areas such as marketing, consumption demand, waste treatment and recycling will be important to future food security. But the question is, you can't do all of that at one time, but when we are developing the priorities in the action plan, this can be addressed and taken into consideration so that we, in 5 years time, don't come back and say, oh, we should have thought about it. That's one of the reasons I'm putting that down. Next one, please. Innovative approach, and this is part of the SAFRON program, innovative approach in management of weather, climate hazards, and extreme events. That's very important to promote greater resilience in agriculture. And we identify priority areas like use of reliable, timely, seasonal to seasonal forecast in agriculture, Rafa mentioned on medium-range weather forecasts, use of remote sensing on operational agrometeorological services, to strengthen regional collaboration. And in this space, I'd like to mention that Dr. Bimol Bhattacharya, kind of people that we're working with, and he's also part of SAFRON, will be very, very useful to collaborate in this space. From the Indian Space Organization Space Operations Center. Discuss and establish institutional arrangements that are needed to sustain and scale up ongoing national and regional efforts in the delivery of agrometeorology services. And this is what I think we have been discussing about. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shamsulhuda. Thank you. Dr. Nabasu, you want to add something or want to say something?
Dr. Wadullah, should we start for the interactive session?
Yes, sure, I'm not sure.
Dr. Wadullah, please. Can we start the interactive session now?
Yes, please. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
We have an issue.
You are muted actually.
Yeah, we are trying. We are trying.
Mr. Usmani, can you hear me?
No. We can hear you, but is it okay now? Hello?
Put on your mic.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us now? Is it okay? Dr. Nabasu, we have a slight glitch into our audio system. Sorry, we have a slight problem with our audio, and we are trying to fix that. We will come back to you in a minute. او رو ببینیم. اینو من برادکست بکنم. سایز که صحبت میکنه.
Najibullah. In future, we would like to have more information on rain gauges or weather stations or meteorological stations which can be revived. I do understand that in the present condition of Afghanistan, probably that whole might have been became very inactive or less in action. So probably this information will be required to the committee which is required to be formed between the SAFOM and the Afghanistan authority. So for that committee, if this information could come that, yeah, out of the total rain gauges or automated weather stations or the meteorological stations, how many can be revived and how many will have to be replaced? Because cost of the replacement will be totally high than the cost of revival. So those things will have to be worked out, will have to be found out by the committee that these are the things which are to be done in future. Those will be the steps. Similarly, the second thing which will be required probably from the Afghanistan department, that what is the crop status? Different type of the cereals, they are taking the different in different regions of their country. So what is the crop status? How much area is sown? By which particular crop it is sown? And in what condition it is? We do understand that under the drought conditions which are prevailing in their country, most of them have been affected widely and may not give very much good output. But even then, again, from these crops, what output can be done or what type of the forecast can help in improving their output of the different crops. Therefore, the crop status of different districts, or if available, not district wise, then it can be considered as a country as a whole. So if the crop status will be required for the committee for working out the different type of the measures which can be undertaken for reviving all those crops. Again, though the reference has come only for the cereals, but to the best of my understanding, horticultural crops are also very important for Afghanistan because they produce lot of fruits, dry fruits, etc. So those horticultural crops are also to be reported to the committee in future if possible. Similarly, the third component, though the reference has come, is of the livestock. In case of the livestock, what is the exact position in case of the cattle, sheep, goat, camel that are in place or which will need the support for feeding, for watering, for shades, and all those things, because climate will be affecting the whole population of livestock in whichever part of Afghanistan they might be. Therefore, the third information which will be required to the committee will be about the livestock status. Maybe they cannot get it the number wise, but from remote sensing, even if they could trace that, yes, in these parts of the Afghanistan, herds are there and they are in good shape or in moving shape or they are not in good working condition. So that will be the information which will be required to the committee or the whole system. Fourth and last, the information will be required for the about the education program which is already going on in their universities. Is there any possibility of just introducing some part, or we will have to design the total course for different universities? Maybe it may not be possible for the whole educational program, but training programs can be developed for different category of the people. That is for teaching type, research, field workers, and the workers which are working either in the cropped areas, horticultural areas, or maybe in the livestock areas. And the fourth area, which is again very important, is high altitude areas of Afghanistan, because the whole country is very uneven. They are having the different type of the formations. So again, in high altitude areas, what is the condition? That information will also be required. So to the best of my understanding, for the next committee meeting or making a small committee for this whole purpose, these are the few things which will be required to be done. Of course, the Afghan authorities will have to find out the other points which were raised by Dr. Rathore in his address, that is funding support, infrastructural support, and by other experts in their the type of the warehouses or the type of the storage, because again in warehousing the pest and disease problem will come in a different fashion. Presently we are talking of the pest and diseases in field condition, but if the grains they are stored, then in storage again the pest and disease conditions will be different. So these informations will be required. I don't say that all of a sudden the whole information will be available, but as a first step, whatever Dr. Rathore has said, committee formation and a review of the whole situation, and in second step the status of crop, horticultural crop, livestock, and the high altitude positions, if they could be summarized, that will help us to plan the agro advisories or to plan for the next steps to revive the whole thing in Afghanistan. Thank you very much, and over to Dr. Nabanshu.
Thank you, sir. Now over to Dr. Amanna Rao.
Thank you, Dr. Navansu. I'm happy with the initiative taken by Dr. Najibullah in having this meeting, and they are blessed by their minister for taking agrometeorology further. This is very important. Agrometeorology and food security. This is the major issue of the present century now. Because of the so much of climate variability, climate change, threats, and all that, it is necessary to improve the agrometeorological advisory services to sensitize the farmers for taking timely action to safeguard their production and profitability. This is very important. But first of all, I try to prepare a roadmap on how to take it further to see that operational agrometeorological services will be a good success in Afghanistan. So for that roadmap, we have to start with the assessment of the present situation in Afghanistan and what are the priorities to be decided for making agromet advisory services possible. And the third important step is how to rope in people from different organizations, sensitize them, train them, and make them participate in extending agrometeorological advisory services to the farming community. So SAFOM can play a very useful role in evolving a good roadmap for improving the agrometeorological services in Afghanistan. And I'm sure that in next couple of years, they will achieve a greater success. And once they are successful in organizing, they will know themselves on how to take it further in a much important manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Over to Dr. Sheikh, please. Sir, unmute. Please unmute.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mansu and Najibullah and His Excellency, the Minister of Agriculture and Deputy Minister of Agriculture, and particularly the whole team of the Afghan Afghan Authority. I think for development of the agromet advisory services and development of agrometeorology in the Afghanistan country, the many aspects and almost all aspects has been discussed and narrated by Dr. Lakshman Singh, Dr. Vasneji, Dr. Ramal Rao, and you also discussed. The most important thing is the variability of the climate, and therefore the present condition or the present status and the availability of data that needs to be analyzed first. And looking to that variability, particularly the crop condition and the effect on the crop condition in the prevailing condition by assumption, by hypothetical assumption, we can start that advisory. And the online data, whatever it is available, that by extrapolating it, we can use it. But first of all, that has already mentioned that make a committee, and committee will discuss it, and then the particular line of action can be finalized. It is a long, as Raman Rao has already told, that within a couple of years after that the fruits will come, and then the particular that benefit will go to the Afghan farmers. But before that, all these things has to be arranged. As Dr. Lakshman Singh has mentioned, Vasnesa will also mention, and the first step is what, without any other resources, we can arrange the small duration, a small period courses for the capacity building for the agricultural staff, for the meteorological staff, about the instrumentation and that analysis part and utility of the different data. And then that subsequently they themselves will develop and analyze the climatic data and prepare the map also. But for us, we need to have the cropping pattern, information of the cropping pattern, land utilization, and the type of soils and all this data that needs to be is required in order to have accurate advisory services. But, and I'm sure that this exercise will be very much helpful to SAFOM to extend the health of our expertise to help them at the Afghanistan farmers and the Afghanistan Authority. I think that this is it is very much appreciated, and people may also our clients also will appreciate this activity by helping the country for benefits of the farmer. Thank you very much. Over to Nabansu. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Aziz, Dr. Azadul Maziz, can you give your comments?
Okay, I've been listening to all the participant and expert lectures. Rather than I would like to go in a practical way that what we did in Bangladesh.
Dr. Aziz, I first introduced yourself in a more. Aziz is a very successful project director in Bangladesh who has changed the agromet services in Bangladesh in a very, very realistic way. So I think he is one of the key person of SAFOM who can share his experience in Bangladesh, where same thing we can do in Afghanistan also. Over to Dr. Aziz.
Thank you, Dr. Navangshu, for your nice introduction. Basically, I will go in a practical way that what we did in Bangladesh under the World Bank funding. We initiated the project in 2017-18 fiscal year, and at that time, basically from 2018 or onwards, we recruited international consultants and other consultants. And what we did first, we gathered all the resources, all the information regarding agriculture. Basically, these things were scatteredly preserved, but under the project, we first gathered all the information regarding agriculture, crop, what are the agroecological zones, what are the districts, regions of Bangladesh, what are the major crops, what are the diseases, what are the previous advisories. We gathered all the information. And then, you know that the World Bank project in Bangladesh, it is an umbrella project, and total funding is near about 113 million USD. And two other parts, the components are Bangladesh Water Development Board and the Bangladesh Meteorological Department. With the three components, the project was still it is now implementing. So after getting all the information, then we are looking for what are the existing information. Though, as you know that still now in Bangladesh, though we have 64 districts, we have only 34 to 40 agrometeorological station or automated observatories. We have this kind of this number of observatories, though it is not sufficient to draw a conclusion. So what we did, we went to we contacted or coordinated with the Department of Bangladesh Meteorological Department, also the Water Development Board. What are the resources that are available there? Then we formed a agromet technical committee within our Department of Agriculture Extension, which included all the members from Meteorological Department, Water Development Board, and also from the research organizations. And through that committee, we started issuing the advisories. And second thing, what we did, that what will be the dissemination channel? First of all, we organized our district officials and also the regional officials to develop a agromet service room there for the future uses. And then we provided some equipments to the sub-districts and also some equipments to the union level, sub-district level. And the main thing, we organized or we collected or we developed a database of 30,000 lead farmers from, they were selected from 15,000 farmer-based organization in Bangladesh, all over the country. And we created a database, and it helped us a lot to disseminate the information, especially in case of emergency situation like cyclone, flash flood, etc. And we, in this fashion, in this manner, we tried to develop the district agrometeorological bulletins and a national bulletin. You will find them in the website of PAMIS portal. PAMIS, I will share it in the chat box, pamis.gov.bd. And still now we have a huge database of agromet advisories. And soon, with the additional funding of the World Bank, we'll be going for automation. You know, while I was watching your lecture, especially Dr. Nazibullah's lecture, that you have 400 districts. So it's a huge one. So in case of a specific district, to prepare a bulletin, it will be very difficult to do it manually. So we are going to do it under automation process. And also we are going to open, you heard from Dr. Nabangsu that we have already finalized all the formalities to open agrometeorology department to leading agriculture universities. And also we have developed training modules for 3 types of modules with the help of another agriculture university, and especially with the help of practical action and rhymes. And we are going to establish community radios in 14 regions. We have 14 regions, and I think within couple of months we will be after the development or establishment of community radios, we'll be telecasting the agromet advisories in local language, in specific regions language. And also we'll be installing the display boards at district level. All the weather information and agriculture related agromet advisories will be shown there. So initially it was like a zero to us. We didn't have any idea what we'll do, what will be the course of action. And of course, with the help of our international consultant, Dr. Navangshu, I'm very much grateful to him that he showed us a way how to develop these things. And fortunately, Alhamdulillah, we have developed the thing, and you will find all the aspects of agrometeorological services in our website. And you'll be highly astonished that after the launching of the portal in 2019, now it is viewed more than 2.7 million times. So it's, I think, I admit that it is a great achievement for our endeavor and our works. So still we are in a developing process. So this is the practical experience of Bangladesh, that we started from zero. So I think my Afghan friends, Your Excellencies, will be pleased to know that we started from a zero position. Now it is in a developing. I would like to say that Agromet is established in Bangladesh in a very nice way, and still we have so many ways to develop it. I will stop here. Thank you for your patience hearing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajic. I think this information is very, very useful. Now, Dr. Raji Reddy, he worked with the World Bank, and also he visited, I think, Afghanistan. So I'll be requesting Dr. Raji Reddy to share his experience of his own, and also working with Afghanistan under the World Bank project. Dr. Raji Reddy, please.
So, good afternoon to one and all. His Excellency Minister for Mail and Deputy Minister, Najibullah Sahab, Waidullah Sahab, and all senior people, advance in agricultural meteorology. Now I would like to say a few things, because many of you have covered roadmap and other things. But what I have experienced with this World Bank project of Afghanistan, and as Aziz just now narrating how he was proceeding and how he has reached to this particular stage. And as you know, the Afghanistan has got around 35 provinces and more than 400 districts, and highly variable agroclimatic conditions. And the northern province, we have a different kind of climate, and come down to the south, it has got a different one. And as you know, there are a number of hazards, natural hazards, particularly drought, temperature variability, and flash floods. And if you see the availability of the data, availability of the network of these, what you call observatories, they are sparse. And just now, what Bangladesh experienced, on the similar grounds, we have to start. And we have prepared a roadmap almost in the same direction. And whatever the information which we have, there are certain good information also from the FAO. They have prepared some province-wise information. And also DEW project, drought early warning system, they have actually covered a lot of, got the information from the remote sensing. They filled the gaps, data gaps, and some demonstrations have also been made. And subsequently, this World Bank project is on hold. I think once it is operational, and we will take the experiences of all the senior people, and I request the Afghan, particularly the male, and also World Bank people, to take the example of different countries, particularly India and Bangladesh. And here are some of the problems which we have noticed. So there's not a lot to be done. And as far as if you look at the crop productivity, particularly farm productivity, it is very low. 2 to 3 tons of the wheat is a very low. And extension system is almost weak. And awareness about particularly the agrometeorology is almost lacking. So we have to start from almost scratch. But there are certain advantages also, opportunities also. Because any information, any kind of advice to the farmers will go in a long way in improving the productivity, even doubling or tripling of the productivity of the crops. Because the weather plays an important role, as all of you know, and there are certain positive systems, particularly community development councils they have in Afghanistan. And also just they started district learning resource centers. And on the lines of the Krishi Vignana Kendras, now we can rope in those things. So we have proposed the existing observatory network needs to be strengthened with the help of the World Bank funding. And the old ones, whether if they are feasible to repair, I don't think they are of any use, the Sutran and other things. So we have planned almost few hundreds of the weather stations, and also the collection of the crop information. As far as the crops are concerned, the field crops, particularly rice, wheat, and cotton, these are the important crops. And if you go to the fruit crops, there's a lot of potential, and also the plantation crops. In addition to these three, we have a scope for horticulture and as well as the dairying. Any input from these experts will be of immense use in development of the agreement system. And also we have planned a very good information system at the central level, Kabul level. There are different departments, Water Resource Department, Ministry of Energy and Water Resource, MEW, and NSCA is another institute. They have a lot of information. They have to be, and as Dr. Rathod said, so there's a good coordination. What I have also suggested, there should be a lot of what you call chemistry is required. So because the things are working in a different directions, all these needs to be brought into a single platform. A lot of integration is required, and we have planned actually at the, as just now said, and also we got the support from you to give a centralized bulletin at the initial level, slowly going back down to the provincial level, and also some selected districts. And these are some of the things which we have planned. I think this may have, and we have started this particular workshop at an appropriate time to help the government of Afghanistan and also World Bank project to go in the right direction. And also money is there, particularly for establishing some of these observatories. And also we have drafted some training programs for certain of the people who are actually involved in this. And another very weak link is the research. And there's no research in the Afghanistan as far as the crop weather relationship or any crop production research. And even at the highest level, particularly the national level, Afghanistan Agriculture Council is also not having a agrometeorological unit, and we have proposed one or two, at least some kind of research needs to be done. And these people are to be brought into the main platform to start these advisories and education programs, and at least one or two courses to be introduced at what you call undergraduate level. And post-graduation also, we have proposed some of the students to be sent to different countries, particularly India, which is nearby and also a little cheaper, so that once the capacity building programs are built up and developed, and people are well aware of what actually is happening in different countries. And this is a country where any actual intervention will have a maximum impact. And I think Dr. Nabans and Dr. Rathod sir and Wajidullah and Najibullah have actually chosen a right time to actually put little efforts in improving the productivity of because all of you are on the grassroots, as all of us know. And now it is the right time, and take the help of the people and take the help of all the international experts, and also locally also there are certain good people. They have shown a lot of enthusiasm to work in this particular field. I think this is my input as far as this one is concerned, and there's a scope, and I think we need, this particular country needs the help of all these people who have put in a lot of service and a lot of experience, and I think we can make wonders in the country. And with these few words, I am thankful to the organizers. Particularly, I thank Dr. Rathod and Avansu, and particularly for facilitating Najibul and Waidullah. I met them during my visit to Kabul in 2020. I think this will go in a long way, and we can do wonders in future. And I request all of you to be a part in the development of that particular country. And there's a lot of scope, potential is there. That is a very important thing, particularly for the fruit crops, horticultural crops, dairying, and as well as the agricultural crops. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Raji Reddy. Now we have another stalwarts who has huge experience in agriculture, meteorology, different aspect, research, operational. Dr. Y.S. Ramakrishna. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nabasu. At the outset, I pay my respects to His Excellency, the Minister of Mail, Maulvi Abdul Rahman Rashid Sahab, Honorable Deputy Minister Technical, and honorable dignitaries there attending the meeting, and very senior officials for various government departments of Afghanistan. I think it's a very bold step that has been given with full focus, with the Honorable Minister himself being present this meeting. So that gives a great support to us, and it's one very good step for SAFOM also to be able to start a program which can really help Afghanistan to really build up a good agrometeorological advisory services. As already mentioned by many of our colleagues here, and the presentation from Nazibullah Osmani ji, that the present condition of agrometeorological services in Afghanistan are not adequate, and there is a need for a really good development of all the programs. And I think what we need is that we have to take small, simple steps to start with. As Aziz has mentioned, what they did in Bangladesh. First, I think the first step should be to reset the whole system of data collection. Because at present, I think only over 108 stations are working, and they're not able to really get more information. So we have to see how best we can try to interpolate the data for other regions also, linking with some kind of satellite information. So to at least to start with, we have some kind of a good data system which can be useful for developing of agro-advisory services there. Second thing is linking with the farmers also. As Razreddy has mentioned, there are many small organizations like what we have KVKs here. They have some kind of extension agencies are there, and the farmers themselves must be interested to have some kind of information that can help them to grow their crops well and get better returns. So we can rope them in also, so that we can really develop a kind of a network where the farmers also start inputting some data about his crop condition, etc. And all this data can come to a central platform. So they have to really develop a kind of a dashboard where all this kind of information of the crop sown date, and how the crop conditions are there. Whatever information the farmer can give on an individual basis, it should come to the platform so they can be all linked together. So that will help them to really develop some kind of good crop calendars, and also to develop some better advisories there. So linking agromet data with satellite data, I think becomes a first step for us to start with. So it's some kind of a interest we can generate in the farming community as well as the government officials. The second part should be developing the infrastructure. So we have to find some kind of dedicated and interested people who are really like to work in this field of agrometeorology. So encourage them so that they can do better work, and then we'll start with some kind of simple techniques of data interpretation. I think that should be the first step for us before going for complicated models or model evaluations and all that. So I think we should start with these two small steps at the beginning, and then take up things further as the interest builds up in the group there. So I think at present, I think this is what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If anybody has any further comments from our side, otherwise there is a time constraints is there. We will go to that Afghanistan side. If not, then over to Dr. Wadullah to from your side what the suggestions. So what to you, Dr. Wadullah? That is excellent proposition actually. I mean, just begin with whatever he has suggested is a right path actually. So we will explore in future also how to streamline all these suggestions. Over to you. So from our side, thank you to you because this is a wonderful proposition that in Kabul University, if we can start course curriculum like Bangladesh and others, that will be wonderful, and that will give lot of human resources to you to make the agromet operational in a very, very sustainable manner. And SAFOM will give the full support to Kabul University to do this. Thank you very much for this offer. Over to you.
I think now the Kabul University has come forward. Better to start at least one course, basic course in BSc undergraduate level, and that would be better immediately. That is possible. Not starting entire this one degree and all that is not possible immediately. I think we can propose one short course, and that also will be dealt virtually. Now it's not a problem to teach them virtually, and sending one or two people from Kabul University to this training programs, particularly of the AMD Pune, so that will help. The particular in agronomy course, that is possible. Okay, then they're actually that capacity building of that particular degree can be strengthened. maybe you can put 2 or 3 courses in that, then that will be more than sufficient. I think the guest lectures we can plan immediately. There is no problem. Virtually, all our senior people can teach one 45 minutes course class.
No, it's a very good suggestions, right? Very good comments, right? Over to you.
I think, Navasu, it will be better if they send the syllabus or curriculum which they are having. So we will study their syllabus, and in that what additional things they need or what
Sir?
type of the lectures do they need, we can prepare and then we can talk to them.
Sorry, he has not completed, sir. He has not completed. Let him complete, sir. Done it? Hello? You have completed? Yeah, but, sir, you can tell now. Okay.
I was suggesting that let the people send their curriculum to us or to SAFOM. So we will go through that how much portion they are teaching and what additional things required to be added. After knowing this thing that what is to be added, we can plan for the lectures, and a week program or a month program, it can be done online to teach all those people. So first step is that they should send their curriculum to us, that what they are already teaching to the undergraduate students or to their MSc students. So if we come to understand that these are the portions which they are covering or teaching, we will prepare the additional modules for them. Over.
This is wonderful. Dr. Wadullah, you can note these suggestions, what Professor Hasne has made. We will work on it. I think this subject what he has mentioned is very, very useful. And this will be one of our, issue will be there, how we can work on to that. Over to Dr. Wadullah.
I suggest that in addition to that, you can also give what are the requirements, what specific information on which you want some kind of modules to be prepared. Like somebody was mentioning about snow melt, and the water coming from that sources. Then the evapotranspiration aspects, yeah, crop management, crop phenology aspects, yeah, crop calendars. So you can give some requirements also, so we can try to add that also in the new curriculum, because that should be useful to you also.
There also Afghanistan Agriculture Research Institute. No, yes, you have that big university institute is there, no? Ah, there, yes.
So, before concluding by Dr. O.S. Ramakrishna and you, so I'll be again requesting the president of SAFOM, Dr. L.S. Rathod, if he is having any special comments to share with us. Over to Dr. L.S. Rathod. Dr. L.S. Rathod, please. I don't think he is available. Now we can hear from him, but Dr. Wadullah, what do you feel now that Dr. Ramakrishna will conclude, then you conclude, is okay? Okay, so in the meantime, if Dr. Rathod is available, we can hear from him. So we have done a wonderful job. All praise to Dr. Wadullah, Dr. Osmani, and all the colleagues of there. But now we want to conclude a very good discussion. So I'm requesting Dr. Ramakrishna, Dr. Y.S. Ramakrishna, just give the gist of this thing of all the full meeting and how to go ahead, and you can conclude with from our part. Then it will be handed over to Dr. Wadullah. Okay, over to you, Dr. Ramakrishna.
Thank you, Nabasu. I think we had an excellent meeting, and we could able to hear what are the current conditions in Afghanistan and what are the requirements they have. Especially the points have been brought out that currently the network of observation network is very inadequate. So there is a need to really develop a kind of a good network system. Maybe that what are the existing stations plus what are the stations they're going to add in near future. With that information, if we can add some more satellite information also and try to develop a kind of a gridded network data. So maybe for those gaps, you can try to find some kind of a system where you can try to implore that data into the system. But this can be first level like approximation. But at least to start with, I think we can take it up till a good network develops, and we can cross-check also at some places this database so that we can have a kind of a better information across the various regions. That's one point. The second thing is that there is a very good potential to improve the agricultural productivity through good agro advices to farmers in that region. And drought is one of the most chronic problem in that area. And for this, a lot of technologies of drought assessment and trying to give some kind of a management strategies, post-drought management strategies we have from the rainfall agricultural systems. We can try to bring in that information also into the system there. But one thing is we have to take small steps of trying to improve the interest in agrometeorology step by step. One is, as we have said, that we have to start some kind of a various training programs which SAFOM can take up, and also improving the educational programs, starting some small courses. I think the Kabul University is ready to start a course in agrometeorology, but as suggested by Raj Reddy, at least in the bachelor's program in hydrometeorology, there can be a small course of agrometeorology. So that can be an initiative that can be start with. So we find more graduates having some kind of a knowledge and aptitude towards agrometeorology, and then they can take up a regular course in agrometeorology. And if the opportunities are created for good jobs for them, I think many students will try to take up this program on agrometeorology as we have in India, because all agriculture universities have started this course of agrometeorology. So creating a kind of a job opportunities will bring in a lot of people who can orient themselves towards agrometeorological courses. That can be a second step that can come in. Then Vazibullah is brought in. What are the challenges that's there? Especially dedicated staff is required. So first is to identify the dedicated staff, especially observers who can collect data. And then using some kind of simple equipment, for example, collection of rainfall, small rain gauges or improvised rain gauges can be made to get some kind of approximate data on rainfall to start with, though not very accurate. And in the meantime, start developing a network of these rain gauge stations, so we can get kind of a standardized meteorological information. Though scientifically it may not be appropriate, but at least it can give us some kind of a stopgap information that completely lacking knowledge in a given regions, where the farmers can collect this kind of information and linking this farmers information to a kind of a satellite database, if something can be developed. So anybody can, some schools, in the schools also you can put a small rain gauge where they can collect the information, and then that can be sent to a department in a small note in the form of a postcard or something. We used to do it long time back. Maybe something like that we can start. So we get information on the rainfall pattern from different areas to start with, till we have a very good network of rain gauges across these 400 districts. So filling that gap somehow has to be started with. Then workshops, yes, we can start the workshops, but again the workshops has to be very simple to start with. Simple water balance systems, estimation of soil moisture, estimation of evapotranspiration. So all these things, small techniques, if we can be given in capsules as in the course curriculum, I think that can give them some kind of a strength, and then they should be able to come up with kind of the gaps, important knowledge which they were looking for. If they can give us that information, we can plan our programs accordingly and try to provide them the needful suggestions, especially on water harvesting also, because drought is a big issue and there is no real water storage systems. We in situ water harvesting small tanks for collection of rainfall for supplemental irrigation. So some kind of technologies also can come up beyond agrometeorology related to this subject. So both these together can help the farmers in really improving their productivity and safeguarding their crops. So I think these are the points that have come up till now, and based on the information feedback we get from the Afghan colleagues, we can really plan the next program further. So I would like to say this much for the time being, and over to Nabasu.
Thank you, sir. Now Dr. Rathod is with us, so we want to hear the last first suggestions to him from Dr. L.S. Rathod. Over to you, Dr. L.S. Rathod.
Thank you, Dr. Nabasu Chattopadhyay. I think we have covered almost that ground we wanted to cover through this workshop. We have shared information about existing status. We have also discussed about what are the gaps and future challenges for rendering the kind of targeted service. We have also identified the priority areas, and including we have discussed how to the action plan to pave the way for initiating the service. The present status and the existing strategies for initiating the service after we do the need assessment to identify the gaps and requirement, etc., is very critical component. And when we talk of the need assessment, having known the background and the objective of the service and the type of methodologies and products and the concept as a whole, we have now have a very good idea about as to what are things to be done, prepare the action plan. But it is good to initiate with the need assessment, as was mentioned by some of our colleagues, as to what are the weather and climate information services needs. And that include the specific need with regard not only to the weather forecast or crop status or soil status, but also, as we discussed, the financial needs, human resource needs, capacity building needs, technical and technological capacity development needs, infrastructural needs, communication and dissemination needs. And so that should enable us to set up a broad climate information framework. When we talk of the need assessment, the assessment of vulnerability and adaptive capacity of the people engaged in different livelihoods, be it agriculture, be it horticulture, be it livestock, is very important. And so we need to examine all these aspects to the extent possible, along with how the various sectors are impacted by non-availability of meteorological information and services as of now. So that is our benchmark, because the zero level need to be defined when we start the service. And we have already identified the gaps in different service components. So I think very good ground has been covered, and we are ready to proceed further as have been discussed in today's workshop. Thank you very much and best of luck. Over.
Thank you, sir. Now it's over to Dr. Wadullah. You can conclude now. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Wadullah, Mr. Osmani, for arranging this. Okay, we can conclude now. Looking forward. Okay.